Hello YouTubers, this is Cessnaace back again with another 10 video ads video. This time doing things a little differently. Instead of showing 10 of all one format, I'm going to show 9 of all one format and then a VCD. The reason I decided to do it this way is because I had recently received 2 packages from Hong Kong of VCDs, and I thought I had ordered a total of 10, but it turned out I had ordered a total of 9. So not quite enough to do one video dedicated to that unless I hold them and place another order, and I don't know when that would be. So I decided to do it this way. Now, I've mentioned in the past that I cannot record a video to save my life without a phone ringing. Either our hardline, well, this is a cordless phone, but it's hooked up to a hardline, or a cell phone. In fact, I've got 2 cell phones in my pocket, and so I'm really courting danger here. This is my 3rd attempt at this video because the phone has rang twice already. But I'm going to give this a shot. Now, in addition to the 9 VHS tapes, all of which I picked up at the flea market for $1 a piece, and the VCD that I picked up from YesAsia and was shipped from Hong Kong, I'm going to show a DVD that I already had in my collection, but I wanted to touch on something about it. So, without further ado, I have here a VHS tape that was sealed, but it no longer is because there was a sticker affixed to the plastic wrap that intrigued me. It had printed on it, includes free CD. Well, given the size of a VHS case, it didn't seem likely that it had a CD in it unless it was a CD3. And CD3s are extremely uncommon here in the US. I know they were much more common in Europe. I can gauge this by in a previous video I had shown a compact disc collector's guide that I have that includes laser discs in it. But it also has a ton of glossy photos, and it lists as one of the formats CD3s. It also had quite a few pictures of oddly shaped CDs, which is, it turns out, relevant to this video. This is American Graffiti THX certified transfer. There is the CD. Rather an odd shape, wouldn't you say? So I am not going to be unsealing that part to get it out. I'm going to keep it right where it is. Now, it has printed on it, do not play in dashboard or jukebox type CD players. Also says something, a real small print, and then shape CD. Copyright 1998, Universal Music Special Products, Special Markets Incorporated. Anyway, as it was sealed, it still had these lovely inserts. Nice and shiny and glossy. Now, in the early days of home video, the label on the spine was really, in essence, a sticker that had information printed on it, and then they switched to printing directly onto the spines. But this one doesn't have anything. Really odd. Now, I have a lot of videos in these style cases. Some horror titles, some Disney titles. Most of them are titles that were released by Anchor Bay. And I like these cases better than the style of case that Disney typically used, the clamshell cases, because they are susceptible to being crushed. if you have a stack of them. And I've seen more than my fair share at the flea market that are just cracked beyond belief along the edges because they were stacked and they got crushed. But these are much sturdier. In fact, I kind of wish all VHS tapes had been released this way. Either this or the way Thorn EMI used to package their VHS and Betamax tapes, which were in hard cases that were barely larger than the cassettes. They were really sturdy as well. One of the two options would have been preferable to the way they went, which was cheap. Anyway, Caddyshack. This is the 19th anniversary special edition. It includes an all-new documentary, Caddyshack, the 19th Hole, featuring outtakes, other rare footage, and reminiscences by Chevy Chase, Harold Ramis, Mark Kenton, John Peters, and other veterans of the production. Also the original theatrical trailer. The feature runs 99 minutes and the extras run 33 minutes. From Warner Home Video. And Warner Brothers is, I believe, the last studio to hold on to home video on their DVD releases. If you look at the small print, it'll say Warner Home Video on their DVDs. I don't know if they're doing that with their Blu-rays, but they're doing it with their DVDs. This was what I was talking about, printing directly on the spine. Okay, anime time. I know I seem to be concentrating a lot on this series, but that's only because I'm trying to get them all out of the way. I've been buying a lot of other anime series at the flea market, but I've been holding off showing most of them until I get this particular series out of the way. These are all from ADV Films. Well, I'm going to show 3 in this video. Bubblegum Crisis, Tokyo 2040. This is volume 9. Each volume contains 2 episodes that are English dubbed. I would prefer English subtitles. I have people ask me that question periodically, so I thought I'd go ahead and throw that out again. But I haven't run across any that are subtitled out at the flea market. Okay. Bubblegum Crisis, Tokyo 2040. Volume 10. Bubblegum Crisis, Tokyo 2040. Could have guessed it. Volume 11. I believe this is all of the Bubblegum Crisis that I have picked up so far. So next video I will be starting in on another series to show. This past weekend, I went to the flea market. I picked up 40 VHS tapes, so I have a huge backlog, because I already had a backlog then of videos that I hadn't shown. And this next one is one that I went ahead and watched, and I was stunned at the high quality of the picture and the sound, because it was published by Rhino Home Video. The reason I say that is because I have a Laserdisc of Roger Ramjet Volume 2. It was licensed from Rhino Home Video to Image Entertainment. The disc was manufactured by 3M. The disc was perfect, so you can't fault 3M. Each facility that manufactured Laserdisc manufactured their own disc masters. This can cause releases that were derived from the same video master to look completely different. Take, for example, 1776. I have it released from Pioneer Special Interests, and then a few years later it was republished by Columbia TriStar and made at their U.S. Sony plant. Well, even though they used the same video master, the Pioneer version is just absolutely stunning in comparison to the Columbia TriStar version. The only thing I can think of that would make the difference on that is that they were made at different facilities, and therefore, most probably, each facility had made their own disc master, which was where the difference lied. Anyway, to get back to this particular release from Rhino Home Video, the one that I have on Laserdisc that I was talking about, Roger Ramjet Volume 2, they obviously had used a 16mm positive print with the colors faded and turning. Simply what that means is that two of the three primary colors were fading out, leaving red as the predominant color. So really pinkish looking. And if that print had been allowed to deteriorate any further, it would have looked solid red. Now, when I worked in television, here's another chance to interject a television story. At the second television station I worked for, we ran a lot of 16mm, and the prints were of varying quality. We rarely kept our own prints. The only time we kept our own prints were with the cartoons, because they ran all the time. The Tom and Jerry's, the Popeyes, all that sort of thing. We kept 60mm prints in-house for those. But the TV shows and the movies, we booked a print, and the distributor would send us the print, and we would air it, and then it would be sent to the next station. Usually we didn't send them directly back to the distributor. We sent them to the next station who had booked the film, and then they would do the same thing. Those were known as bicycle prints. Anyway, getting off the subject here. Most people kept the camera control units of the telecines in auto for everything. Just let whatever came out go out. But I was kind of anal. I guess a nice way to put it about it. We had just had a guy transfer from the film department to engineering. And I noticed that he was painting, what we call painting, each print before he either transferred it to 1-inch for archival purposes or before it aired. So I asked him to show me what he was doing, because I was familiar with the procedure. I had seen it done at the first station I worked for, but I worked in master control there, which was part of the production department, and the engineering department handled painting of the telecines. Just means taking everything out of auto and painstakingly adjusting the chroma phase and the luminance levels, black levels, video levels, everything else. Usually on a print, they would have one frame that was a generic picture. It was usually a white woman with a lot of makeup on, red lipstick, and so forth. It was meant to be an image that you could freeze frame and paint, so that when you ran the film would match up with the painting you had done and look good. He showed me how to do that, go through the step-by-step process of tweaking the colors and painting to particular prints. But then he didn't stop there. He would go into the film about a minute and he would freeze frame it, and he would check that freeze frame to make sure the colors were still accurate. If your chroma phase was off, for example, are you familiar with the Steven Spielberg film, The Color Purple? Well, if the chroma phase is off, black people will appear purple. So that's another way to check. I'm getting way off the subject here. I had originally started talking about Rhino home video and how bad that one particular release from Rhino was. It was, in fact, 2 video cassette releases put out on one Laserdisc. But this particular one from Rhino home video is stunning. The picture is gorgeous. The sound is great. And I was interested to watch it. I watched it and I was stunned the whole way through it. Peter, Paul, and Mary 25th anniversary special. This originally aired on PBS. Copyright 1986. So this was some time ago. Okay, I like to mention whenever it's applicable when a video that I show is of a movie that I saw in the theater. I had at one time intended to do a video where I talked about all of the films that I'd seen in theaters. And that list got well into the triple digits and I wasn't anywhere near done. So I gave up on it. But as I said, this is one that I saw in the theater. It spawned numerous sequels, 6 I believe, a live action television series, an animated television series, and I'm talking about Police Academy. Now, I didn't see any of the sequels in a theater, but I did see this one. Okay, horror film. Pumpkinhead. I don't recall what it is off the top of my head, but this is known by a different title as well as this one. And I believe it had a sequel also. Don't know how MGM Home Entertainment got around to releasing this, as I believe the film was made by Ryan, or maybe I'm thinking about a different film. Don't mind me, and if anything I say doesn't sound right, look it up, because I do make mistakes. Now, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I've been inputting my video collection in at the DVD Aficionado database. Now, technically, they only cover DVDs and Blu-rays, but you can create folders and move releases into those folders. For example, VHS tapes owned, and you could find a DVD release of it and move that into that folder. They also have over 7,000 placeholder entries, which are films that they've had people submit that have never been released on DVD, and they do that. However, this film is one of many VHS films that I have that aren't in the database at all. And if you can't find a decent photo of the cover, they're not going to accept the submission. It's not like the Laserdisc database. The Laserdisc database, you can submit a new title even if you don't have a picture of the cover, because a lot of the members go in, if they have it, they'll add the cover. But DVD Aficionado, if you don't have the cover, your submission's not going to be accepted. Most of the submissions that they have accepted from me have either been when I have added the UPC that was, for whatever reason, missing. That seems to be rather rare. Or, more commonly, an alternate UPC, and some releases have as many as 3 different UPC numbers on them. Universal Product Code. And also, what I frequently submit and get accepted are the studio product codes, what they call studio product codes, but what the rest of the world refers to as catalog numbers. In any event, this is not in their database, and I looked and I couldn't find it in any database. 6. This was published by Christian Cinema, and they have a website, christiancinema.com. In the last days before Armageddon, a brutal dictator rules the earth, and so forth and so on. Okay. Actually, it could be that the full name of the company is christiancinema.com. But this is just one more reason why I collect multiple formats. I have a lot of movies on Laserdisc that have not been released on DVD and Blu-ray, and some that haven't been released on VHS. I have a ton of movies on VHS and other titles too, like Electric Train videos and stuff, that were released on VHS but have not been released in any other format. So that's one reason, and another reason is I'm nuts. Okay, for this video, the VCD that I ordered from YesAsia, courtesy of Hong Kong, I've mentioned in a past video that Hollywood studios would license titles, and I guess they still are, because this is a rather recent release on VCD. But they would license their films to legitimate publishers of VCDs in various countries. I have to always put in that legitimate word because, of course, the VCD format is well known for being ripe full of people creating pirated copies. And if you judge VCD by the pirated copies that you may have run across, then you're judging it unfairly, because the commercially released VCDs that I have, and I have well over 150, are in some cases absolutely stunning, better looking than the VHS equivalent. Now, this is a film that was released by Fox, kind of. It's a science fiction film. It was released in 2007. It had an initial budget of $40 million, Fox decided to release it through its boutique label, Fox Searchlight, but $40 million was a little high for Fox Searchlight, so they had to get additional financing. And I think they got some financing from the British lottery system. Anyway, this is a U.S.-British co-production, and it was licensed by Deltamac from 20th Century Fox. Sunshine. Now, one of the reasons that Fox's main film studio, name, whatever you want to call it, didn't want to release this film is because the last film that had a premise along the lines that this one has greatly underperformed. So it was decided to make it a low-budget release, hence Fox Searchlight. This underperformed as well, so they might have known what they were talking about. Now, something I've noticed is that with VCDs that are of Asian films that have both Chinese and English text on the backs, the English text is rather laughable at times. But on releases that are licensed from studios, American studios, the English is impeccable, which makes me think that the studio themselves write the English copy. There are 3 pull quotes on the back. The names of the reviewers who gave these quotes are in English. The magazines or whatever are in English, but I don't know what they're saying because that's all been done in Chinese. But Oliver Richards of Empire said something about it. Alan Jones of Starbust said something about it. And Milk Magazine said something about it. Now, I'm always intrigued when I see an English word amongst Chinese text because that usually means there's no Chinese equivalent. Okay is one I hear a lot in Hong Kong films. I watch them in Cantonese or Mandarin, and I'm watching the English subtitles, and I hear okay. And for some reason, love you. I don't know why there wouldn't be a Chinese equivalent of love you, but I hear that a lot also. But anyway, I don't know if you can see that, but sci-fi and then whatever else it says in Chinese. You've never seen anything like Sunshine, the stunningly original sci-fi action-adventure from groundbreaking director Danny Boyle. Trainspotting 28 days later. Bear with me, I'm dyslexic, and so. It is the year 2057. The sun is dying and mankind faces extinction. Earth's last hope rests with a courageous crew of 8 men and women on a mission to ignite the fading star with a massive nuclear weapon. Don't know how that would help. Deep into their voyage, out of radio contact with Earth, their mission begins to unravel, and they find themselves fighting not only for their lives, but for the future of us all, with twists and turns you won't see coming, plus a mind-blowing alternate ending. This pulse-pounding journey to the sun is a non-stop thrill ride. Now, it has the English language track with Chinese subtitles. Now, for the DVD that was already in my collection that I wanted to touch on. I've been entering in my collection, as I stated, at DVD Aficionado. One publisher that has been a nightmare for me is Digiview. Now, I don't even know if Digiview is still around. Sometimes they refer to themselves as Digiview Productions, at other times Digiview Entertainment. But they were quite common in Walmart stores. They had their own little section. They were $1 a piece. And then they disappeared. I don't know if it was because they got caught releasing some titles that were actually copyrighted, but they thought they were in the public domain or not. This is one animated film that is still under copyright protection, but many have assumed that it is not. And in fact, on Wikipedia, it mentions that some releases from Digiview of this title have been spotted. I know they've been spotted because I have one. I went on IMDb. I found this title, but bare bones information as far as its production, other than the fact that it was made for video in Australia. At Amazon, I found it, but from a different publisher. Now, the company that produced this film had a habit early on of multiple licensing agreements. They would license more, I think that's called parallel licensing, where they would license the same film to multiple publishers in the same territory. They did that for a while, and then they switched to just one license holder. But this is from Digiview. It is not in the DVD Aficionado database. But I can't add it because I can't find a cover, and they won't take submissions without a cover. Now, I've submitted a placeholder request, which those are more likely to be accepted, but just have to have the cover. Or a cover. Or a poster. Or something that they can stick up there with it. The only photos I've found of video releases of this film online have been at Amazon, and they've been blurry. And they're different from this. They were released by a different company. Anyway, I know I'm beating around the bush and not getting to what the title is. Around the World in 80 Days. Now, in the forums there at DVD Aficionado, I wrote an open post to the administrator called Digiview is Driving Me Digibatty. Because some Digiview titles have alternate covers. Some have alternate catalog numbers, or what they would refer to as studio product codes. Others have alternate spellings of the title. For example, I have Beneath the 12-Mile Reef from them twice. Different catalog numbers, different UPCs, and on one release it has it beneath the 12-1-2-mile reef, and the other one says beneath the TWELV, spell 12 reef. Two different covers, two different title variations, different UPCs, different catalog numbers, and I've tried submitting the one that I have so that it would be in there also, but I couldn't find a cover for it, and I couldn't scan it. So, as I mentioned, Digiview is driving me digibatty. And I have hundreds of Digiview titles. So as I wrote at the end of that post, I quoted from Dr. Smith on Lost in Space, with the pain of going through the trouble of typing in all the information I can find, the IMDb number for a title, the Amazon number for that title, the director, the UPC, the studio product code, the publisher, the date of release. That can sometimes be found at Amazon. But if they don't like the cover, if it's not of high enough quality, if it's not large enough, or if it's absent, they will reject it. Oh, the pain. Until next time, I've gone way over. I can see right there. It says 3428. 29, 30. I'm going to have to say, stay awesome.